What's going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to it. I wanted to bring you a video of Dr. Phil on The View taking the dark, liberal, leftist, evil women to school. But guys, watch this.
So you say you're not the only voice in your kids' ears, so you have to be the best voice. Explain that.
Well, think about it. In like 08, 09, smartphones came on, and kids they stopped living their lives and started watching people live their lives. And so we saw the biggest spike and the highest levels of depression, anxiety, loneliness, and suicidality since records have ever been kept.
We have truly got to recognize that what Dr. Phil is saying is 100% spot on. I mean, it is, man. I mean, even 15 years ago, we didn't have any of this stuff. We didn't. YouTube was just starting. We didn't have everyone in your head. You know, Facebook, man, that was a relatively new thing. You know, before that, we had MySpace. But again, majority of people, they weren't on that. And again, man, there was nothing before that I can recall. I mean, there were chat rooms and things like that back, 20 years ago plus. But the fact of the matter is, man, everyone now, they can get in your kid's head. And again, we do have to be the loudest voice, the voice that commands the most respect. And again, I'm not saying again about making your kids fearful, but again, talk to your kids, tell them the truth about things. Again, the reason why we have all this transgender ideology and everything else, and these 18, 19, 20-year-olds getting out there protesting and saying, trans rights, and, again, a boy can be a girl and use my pronouns and everything else. Yeah, we have got to recognize, man, they get into the kids' heads at young ages. I mean, again, imagine going back in time, if you could, 25 years ago, and saying this to people then. Again, it wouldn't happen. They'd be like, what are you talking about? That would never be. But again, the way in is through the kids, and the way to the kids is through their electronic devices, their phones, their tablets, whatever, social media. That's the way in.
And then COVID hits 10 years later, and the same agencies that knew that are the agencies that shut down the schools for 2 years. Who does that? Who takes away the support system for these children? Who takes them away and shuts it down? And by the way, when they shut it down, they stopped the mandated reporters from being able to see children that were being abused and sexually molested, and in fact sent them home and abandoned them to their abusers with no way to watch, and referrals dropped 50 to 60%. So
there was also a pandemic going on, and they were trying to save
kids' lives. Remember, we know a lot of folks who died during this. So it wasn't, people weren't laying around eating bond, but, well, you know what? We're lucky. Maybe we're lucky they didn't, because we kept them out of the places that they could be sick, because no one wanted to believe we had an issue.
Are you saying no school children died of COVID?
I'm saying it was the safest group. They were the less vulnerable group, and they suffered and will suffer more from the mismanagement of COVID than they will from the exposure to COVID. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact.
Man, did you see Dr. Phil? His eyes? Man, he was like, Whoopi, don't play with me, woman. I will take you apart. And he would have. But the fact of the matter is, guys, man, we did our kids a big disservice during COVID. That was 100%. We did, man. I've got 3 kids, and they were in school during that time. And again, yeah, the kids fell behind big time, and not just in their schoolwork, but in socializing. I mean, imagine, man, if you're 13, 14 years old, and again, you have a major disruption like that, some kind of major event like that happens, you're not going to recover. You're not fully. And again, you can never get that time back. Once it's gone. You can't get it back. So again, man, the kids, they took to social media, which is what they wanted. Social media. They took to, again, their cell phones, their computers, their tablets. And again, they no longer went to the movies. They no longer hung out, went to here, went there. Again, they couldn't. Places were closed. They couldn't hang out. They couldn't go places. And again, these kids will never be the same. They won't. And again, man, especially the black and brown communities, especially. I mean, the inner cities. I mean, you have 13, 14-year-olds that read at like a second grade level. And again, they're already behind. They're going to be behind worse. Then again, you have all these other problems. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to help. It doesn't help. These poor kids, man, they're way behind. And we allowed it to happen. Us adults allowed this stuff to happen. We didn't stand up. We didn't say no. I mean, again, we all were scared, fearful. Oh no, I don't want to get this person sick. I don't want to die. They're afraid. They're scared. I mean, again, what they do is they're pushing that, and they're pushing the whole racial stuff and trans stuff and everything else. And they're keeping you in place. Because if you step out of line, fear, you're racist, you're transphobic, you're going to get people sick. You're not compassionate. You're not a good person. Feel ashamed. And if you do step out of line, again, they don't have to do a thing to you. The group will. The herd will. They'll stamp you to death.
You're hosting the primetime show called Dr. Phil Primetime. And for an upcoming episode, my understanding is that you went to the southern border. Now, you're saying that you're going to give people facts. What did you take away from that experience, and what kind of reporting are you going to be bringing back from that experience?
I'll tell you a fact I took away. I talked to the head of all the border guards down there, the head of the union. I asked him straight up, kids are coming over the border with numbers written on them, phone numbers and addresses. Mm-hmm. Do we check those out? He said, well, we call them. Is it possible that we're sending them into known prostitution rings or sweatshops? He said, it's not possible. It is absolute. We are using American tax dollars to ship children into known prostitution and sweatshops.
Some children?
Well, who knows?
Okay.
Man, it wouldn't matter if it was 2 or 200. The fact of the matter is, we know it's happening. We understand that. So again, why aren't we doing something about it? Because again, that's not what they want to do. And no, I'm not talking about the people at the border. I'm talking about the Biden administration. The Biden administration does not want to do a damn thing about this. They don't care. They don't care, again, who gets sold. You know, what if the kids are being sold into sex slavery or sweatshops or everything. I mean, they don't care. They truly don't care. Again, if they wanted to shut this stuff down, they could. Because again, the same laws are on the books under Biden that was under Trump. And again, when Trump left office, immigration, people coming across the border legally, that was down to a 45-year low. So again, what happened? Within 1 year, we went from 450,000 people across the border to 1.8 million. What happened? Joe Biden.
About to ask.
Yeah, and I don't mean to derail us, but you mentioned that there are children crossing the border with numbers and names. Many of them those names belong to their family members, but you're saying, and that's true, but some of them are sex trafficked, some of them are sweatshop trafficked. Why do you think the federal government is not involved? Why isn't the U.S. Attorney's Office involved? Is it a resource issue?
It's a resource issue.
And have they reached out to the Biden administration about that?
Well, you know, it's hard to know. They say that they're so overwhelmed with processing that that's all they can do. They've become social workers and processors and not investigators and border guards because they're just processing.
Got it. Well,
the Biden administration, they understand exactly what's happening. I mean, again, man, it wouldn't matter if they're told or not because they know. Again, you don't go from 450,000 people trying to cross the border Trump's last year to almost 1.8 million Biden's first year. You don't go from that to that without people knowing and intentionally doing this. It's being done on purpose. And again, people have got to understand that. And again, it's not by mistake that we have gone from the lowest people come across the border in 45 years under Trump to record numbers, millions of people, like 8 million people have come across during Biden's administration. I mean, you don't go from lowest numbers to the highest numbers without it intentionally being done. And again, every time Texas tries to stand up and they try to take charge and put razor wire up or buoys up or whatever to prevent people from coming across, they get sued. How dare you try to protect your state, try to protect that border, try to protect your country? How dare you? Again, people might get hurt. They might get cut trying to break into this country. And again, we can't have that. We can't have those poor people getting cut trying to break in to our country. But if yes, well, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks. You son of a